Good morning, or depending when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, out of Voice of Radio. So today, I'm afraid I'm going to have to continue doing what I've been doing quite a lot over the past couple of days. I'm bringing you news for the Pokemon trading card game. And this time, it's about new cards, although, to be fair, they're not actually all new cards. Now, there are a bunch we need to be talking about, but I want to start off with a card which, quite frankly, could end up being a little bit of a problem. It is Electro Generator, and now the translations for all of these come from myself / lovely Antoine Boulet, with me really making an effort to learn Japanese, and there being a new generation of the Pokemon trading card game. Seems like this is a good time to try and make that transition into doing the majority of my translations myself. So what we've got here is an item card that lets you look at the top 5 cards of your deck, and you may attach up to 2 basic lightning to your bench lightning Pokemon in any way that you like, shuffling the other cards back into your deck. And the reason this could be a bit of a problem is, this is great for lightning decks. Not for any other decks. In any non-lightning deck, this is absolute pure and utter garbage. However, in lightning decks, this is just a phenomenal, ridiculous, crazy good card. And it's doing that thing, and I suppose that the best parallel we can really bring here is to Welder, which was an amazing card. Let you attach 2 fire energy from your hand to one of your Pokemon and draw 3 cards. Now, to be fair, Welder could at least allow you to attach to any Pokemon, so colorless Pokemon, etc. could use it. Electro Generator doesn't. It has to be to a bench lightning Pokemon. But this is an item card that can accelerate 2 energy. Will it accelerate 2 energy all the time? No, obviously not. Does it give lightning decks a ridiculous advantage? Oh, you better believe it. One card that would be amazing with this is Oranguru. Lets you basically swap a card in your hand with the top card of your deck. It would basically guarantee you got 1 energy and give you a chance to get the other. The big problem we've got here is Oranguru is rotating on the day this comes out. So it is a little bit more of a cross your fingers and hope. But make no mistake about it, ladies and gentlemen, this is a huge deal. This is going to make lightning decks so much better. We don't have great cards at the moment for manipulating your top decks, but if we ever get cards along those lines, I mean, an old card research record here would be absolutely preposterously good with this. Let's look at the top 4 cards of your deck, put them back in any order you like, but you could also put cards on the bottom of your deck if you don't want to keep them on top. So, you know, combination of these two would be amazing. So yeah, make no mistake about it, this is a hands down, no question, flat out 5 WASSy card, but also it's creating a situation where lightning decks just get a huge advantage over other typings, and I'm not sure there's a particularly good reason for it. Now, another thing that's happening here is, and stop me if you've heard this one before, basics are getting a huge advantage and evolution decks aren't. So we got Penny, new supporter card. If you played through the game, you'll recognize Penny. And it's a supporter card that lets you put one of your basic Pokemon in play and all cards attached to it back into your hand. There is no question as to whether this is a good card. It is a good card. One of the important things here is it doesn't have to be a damaged Pokemon. You just pick it up. So it could be something simple like picking up a Luminion so that you can reuse it next turn to get the supporter card you actually want. Or it could be just picking up a damaged Pokemon to deny prizes. That would work. Or like picking up a Pokemon to clear a bench space. And the thing is, like I say, we don't need to guess as to whether this is good. Sharon's Care has seen a little bit of play, and that only works for colorless Pokemon. But we saw Ace Roller being amazing. And Ace Roller worked for anything, but it did have to be damaged. This is basics only, but they don't have to be damaged. We've seen cards like this before. This is, again, a flat-out, hands-down, no question, 5 WASSy card. This is a huge card that's going to see a ridiculous amount of play. Basic decks get a massive advantage. Evolution decks don't get it. But WASSy, I hear you yell. Come on. The evolution decks must be getting something, and yeah, they are. They're getting Jack. And what Jack allows you to do is search your deck for up to 2 evolution Pokemon, reveal them, and put them into your hand. Brilliant. Searching out 2 Pokemon. And we know that sometimes these kind of cards see play, but we also know that they're not that great, and generally speaking, we want to use item cards to search out our Pokemon. Things like Evolution Incense has been a staple for Evolution decks this format, and for, 3 years now, because it lets you search for an evolution Pokemon and it's just an item card. That's the kind of thing we want to be using. Evolution Incense has not received a reprint, incidentally, so will be rotating when the rotation hits. So essentially, evolution decks are getting a supporter to replace an item. And okay, it's better than the item, but not to a point where it's going to see a huge amount of play, whereas basic decks are getting this amazing new trick in Penny. I'm giving Jack free Wossies. I'm sure some people will play it, but it's not a game-breaking card, let's put it that way. You know what is a ridiculous card? Nest Ball. And it's back. I don't need to translate this one, it's clearly Nest Ball. Okay, fine, I checked to see if it does the same thing. It does! It's a ridiculous card. Nest Ball lets you search your deck for a basic Pokemon and bench it. Now, obviously here the comparison needs to be to Quick Ball. There are two huge differences between this and Quick Ball. Difference number one, you do not discard a card from your hand. A lot of the time that's a good thing, because then you've got more resources to play with, but there are some decks that like to play from the discard. Think decks like Regigigas getting energy into the discard pile, so there are some decks that are still going to want Quick Ball, that would much, much rather be playing with Quick Ball. And remember, Quick Ball, although it did receive a reprint, it never got a reprint with a new regulation mark, so as it stands at the moment, Quick Ball will be rotating out, so Nest Ball is coming in to replace it. The other big difference is you put it straight onto your bench, so to use Luminion again, a card I've mentioned a couple of times this video, Luminion and Nest Ball don't really work. You can use Nest Ball to get a Luminion and bench it, but then you're benching it from your deck, not from your hand, so you don't get to activate the ability. Moving from Quick Ball to Nest Ball is going to be a pretty big deal. It's also going to give a massive advantage to basic focus decks. And don't get me wrong, evolution decks will still blame Nest Ball. Nest Ball should be like pretty much a staple in every deck, but basic decks are just going to have a better time of it. Obviously, this is another slam dunk, hands down, no question, 5 Wossie card, but you knew that, didn't you? There is one more supporter coming. It is Arvin. Search your deck for an item and a tool and put them into your hand. Bearing in mind, of course, as I showed you the other day, there has been that big new rule change which says that item cards and tool cards are not the same anymore. They are different. This gets both of them. It's a decent card. It'll see a bit of play. It's not inherently that powerful, I'll be honest with you, but it's not bad, and certainly some decks will use it, but getting one item and one tool, 2 items would generally be better. But then again, it would be better if tools were included as items in that scenario. It's fine. It'll see a bit of play. I'm giving it between 3 and 4 Wossies. We don't give half Wossies. That would be barbaric. But I don't think this is a huge game-breaking card. And let's be clear, I think cards like Electro Generator and Penny and Nest Ball, I do think these are absolutely gigantic cards that are going to have a huge impact on the metagame. We are not talking about a few fringe cards in this video. This is a big deal, and this is very big news. Now, Boulder Breastplate is coming along as well, and this is a new tool card. Remember, tools are no longer items, and it means that fighting Pokemon take 30 less damage from attacks. Yay! Just makes fighting Pokemon a little bit beefier. Of course, some of you at this stage are going, hey, that's like a better stone fighting energy. Yes, it is, because it reduces by 30, not 20, although you can't stack it like you can energy. It's 1 tool per Pokemon, unless it says otherwise. But one thing to remember is stone fighting energy will again be rotating as this set comes out, so you're not going to be able to combine the two, which is actually genuinely a little bit sad. Sorry about that. But fighting Pokemon have a little bit of extra beef. So, yay. It is the kind of thing where if you're playing a fighting deck, it's going to be all down to numbers. If there are a bunch of Pokemon that are just getting a KO on you, then this is going to be absolutely phenomenal for preventing a KO. If that's not the case, people just aren't going to use this. Sorry about that. Now, in terms of new cards, that's what we've got. Those are the new cards that we have got. But it does need to be borne in mind that we have a bunch of reprints coming as well. These are cards which are in the format at the moment. will be rotating, but oh no, wait, they've been reprinted. And they've been reprinted with a regulation mark of G. That is a new regulation mark, which will keep them in the format for as long as the Scarlet and Violet base set is in the format. We've got Crushing Hammer. Yeah. Now, to be fair, I'm pretty sure Crushing Hammer got a reprint in Japan, so we were going to get this anyway, but that was a regulation mark F reprint. This is a regulation mark G reprint. It's 1 year longer. Flip a coin, get rid of an energy. Good card, seen a bunch of play. Very flippy. It's going to be around for a while yet. Energy Search is a very unexciting card, I'll be honest with you. But it's still a staple card that's always available in the format. So, yay, we're keeping that one, I suppose. It just lets you search for a basic energy. And to be fair, it does actually see a bunch of play. Because, I mean, Drizzle is a nice example. Drizzle lets you search for a trainer card. So here, Drizzle searches for this, which gets your energy. Basically, any deck that can't search out energy, but can search out item cards, actually likes this card, because it means that you then can search out energy, and that's really rather lovely. And speaking of flippy cards, we're also getting Pokemon Catcher back. That's a thing. Flip a coin if head switch your opponent's bench with their active. Again, this has been a staple for many years now. And this is the kind of thing that apparently it's just going to be kept around in the format. These are cards that have been around for a while. They were going to rotate. They're not going to rotate now. To answer a question I have heard from a few people, hey Wassy, what about Switch? We've always had, I'm pretty sure, and again, correct me in the comment section if I'm forgetting something, I'm fairly sure Switch has always been legal since the base set. Switch is a card we always have. As it stands at the moment, Switch is rotating out. We do not have a copy of Switch with a regulation mark later than D in the Pokemon trading card game at the moment. In English. Because you see, ladies and gentlemen, Switch absolutely was reprinted over in Japan. It's a reprint we never got, but it is out there. So I'm not saying it will be in Crown Zenith, but I absolutely am saying I expect it to be in Crown Zenith. Fun little side note here, in Japanese it literally translates as Pokemon Substitution. That's what Bulbapedia have got it as anyway. And with my rudimentary knowledge of Japanese, that seems about right. My point is, ladies and gentlemen, that they have had a reprint over in Japan. Japan have a copy of Switch with a regulation mark of F. It was in Incandescent Arcana, so you should expect it to make its way over here at some point. By which I mean Crown Zenith, because it's clearly a Sword and Shield card with the Sword and Shield design. They're not going to reprint this one in Scarlet and Violet. It's going to be in Crown Zenith. It has to be in Crown Zenith. Oh, there is actually one more reprint that has been confirmed. It is Choice Belt, which is a little bit weird because Choice Belt has a regulation mark of F, which is the last regulation mark we'll have with Pokemon V, because of course when we get a regulation mark G in Scarlet and Violet, we're moving to EXs. And Choice Belt lets you do 30 more damage to Pokemon V. So honestly, they're bringing in a Choice Belt which is now going to last 1 more year than Pokemon V, bearing in mind all it does is do more damage to Pokemon V. And the answer here essentially is, you got to imagine it's a tool that sees a ridiculous amount of play. We know now that item cards and tools are very different. Tools are no longer a subset of item cards. So this is almost certainly just because it's going to see a lot of play. So we might as well have a print of it that makes a little bit more sense. That's all I can really think of, because this is literally coming out and will now last 1 year longer than any Pokemon V we've got. It was going to rotate with the Pokemon V. It doesn't make a huge amount of sense, except just to make things a little bit easier, I suppose. So there we go, ladies and gentlemen. This is, as I think I mentioned at the beginning of the video, a pretty big deal. I genuinely believe that Electro Generator is a crazy good card, Penny is a crazy good card, and the reprint of Nest Ball is a huge, huge deal. Make no mistake about it, these are cards you are going to be seeing a lot over the past few years. But now, ladies and gentlemen, it's over to you guys. I want to know what you think about this. I want to know which of these cards you're excited about. I want to know anything you want to tell me. So let me know in the comment section, would ya? Go nuts! Be nice! And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWassy. That's where we talk Pokemon and a whole bunch of other card games, honestly. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can support the channel. You can get some bonus podcasts where I answer all of your questions. You can join a Discord and chat with us about various things. And you can get shout-outs on the channel, like the lovely Eric Ridgway, who's been a supporter of ours for a while now and seems to be a very lovely person. So thank you very much for all the support, and thank you for being a very lovely person. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.